put me behind misdirection. No, I'm never too far behind it, and I ain't worried about my assignment. Listen, mama, I ain't going back to college. I mean, the bitch was cool, but goddamn, man, I hate that school, and I hate that class. The professor can kiss my ass. That semester just kicked my ass for 4 months straight. I don't know how I passed, and everything take time, and I never put my time in this rap shit. If it don't work out in a year or two, I promise I'll go back, but for now, I gotta chase this passion. Look, it's a big world out here, mom. Your son got eyes for a reason. I promised myself I was gonna see it. Do I really wanna be another could've been me ass nigga? Wanna watch it from the screen ass nigga? Hell no, I wanna be that nigga. Tell my kids that was me ass nigga. Look at what you can be ass nigga. If you follow your dreams ass nigga, is it really that far-fetched to be like the niggas I see on TV and make these dreams 3D and let these niggas see me? I blow my O's in my nose like it's hardly tissue. Many niggas ain't real, boy, they artificial. I'ma fit you and ball like a starter piston. All these rappers sound the same, no communism. Man, I used to have common issues, but now I got common issues like a run-on sentence. Got my witness flexing more than LA Fitness. Niggas bitches like male rappers, table toppers, move stoppers, pistol poppers, run from coppers. Kiss your mama, say you love her, cause tomorrow you could die from wearing different colors. I'm like something you ain't never seen. Heaven saw, hell could see. Say I mean, fake I came, living dream, living mean, living with a sickness, no HIV. Apparently ain't a lot of flows as clear as me or mirror me. Your death ain't distant if you dissing me. RP to fake MCs that wanna test like an ACT. I got a strap and I let it ring like ATT, then ride off. Nigga ATV, spit take Triple H, niggas hating threes, brain dead little bitch like to get on knees like thank the Lord he made me for it, cause if I didn't have mine, I'd be taking yours. Same reasons why I'm his, what they hate me for. If my picture was any clearer, I'd be painting yours like you know. Kudos, don't make you move slow. Got an Asian bitch trying to kick it like judo. That's odd, that start pushing like a NASCAR. Pussy ass nigga should've came with a tampon. That's not even the sad part. Niggas say they winning, but they really got the bad part. Money coming in, so I flip it like a mascot. Trying to fuck twins, I can't even tell they ass part.
Welcome to the Talking the Line podcast, presented to you by Talking the Line Sports Media, giving you our best insights and analysis so you can rake in some cold hard cash on your next sports bet. Now sit on back, open up your mind, and let's cash some tickets. We can't thank you enough for joining us. We hope you enjoy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, degenerates, gamblers, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, fans of the NFL Shield, NFL bettors, fantasy football players, anyone I may have left out, far and wide. Welcome in to episode number 114 of the Talking the Line podcast. Special shout out to Lunaroo of the Sadiddy Boys, Chicago-based group, for that heater of an intro on our countdown. Wouldn't you know it, the name of that song is actually called Normal Illinois, hashtag Roll Birds.
Seriously.
He actually attended ISU for a few years there as well. So shout out Lunaroo. If you like that song, we will drop the link in the description. It is off of his new album, Night Watch. Definitely go check that out. But to you guys, thank you, as always, for stopping by today's show on this beautiful August 31st, 2021. Last day of the month, let's close it strong. But before we do, please take a few moments to smash that subscribe button on whatever platform you are currently ingesting the Talking the Line podcast on. If you are watching on YouTube, you might as well hit that notification bell over there as well so you never miss the start of a live show or any additional TTL Crew content dropping, as we might have a little bit to talk about at the end of the show. Sheesh. But if you are listening to the audio recorded version on your favorite podcast directory, make sure you hit that subscribe button there as well, as we always do release the audio of every live show after each live show is over. Next item up on the docket, if you could be so kind, you can find it in your heart. You got a couple extra seconds to do so. Hey, hit that like button, leave us a comment, leave us a rating, hop on over there in the live chat if you are watching live. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it when you do, and it only helps us make TTL Sports Media bigger and better for each and every one of you. Last, but certainly not least, head on over to this episode's description where you will locate the Talking the Line link tree. Within that link tree, you'll find the talkingtheline.com website, all of the TTL Crew's social platforms, and our additional content, so you can consume that all, however and whenever you please. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful people, joining us on episode number 114, I am your humble host, Colt 45 Soroka, and once again, thank you so much for choosing to stop by the TTL pod today. Can't tell you how much we appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. Well, I keep saying we are the crew, but I'm the only guy talking so far, so I need to bring in the second half of the Talking the Line Sports Media crew. My man sits to my left on every show, may soon be sitting to my left on a new show, but maybe not in the same location as me. Who's to say?
Who's to say?
A man that is elated that his White Sox are coming off a solid weekend against my Cubbies and now draw the Pirates at home in the South Side for a nice 2-game series, and I apologize, and he is very excited to see his Green Bay Pack go in 9 short days. Well, actually, it'll be 11 short days, but either way, 12 short days. Well. Either way, no problem. Let's bring him in. The man, the myth, the degenerate gambling legend himself, Mr. Riley RMags Magnuson. Partner, how you doing over there today, pal?
My man, I am doing fantastic. 9 days, 11 days, 12 days. It doesn't matter. The clock is ticking, and we are getting very, very close to some real-life NFL football, and I cannot wait. We've got a hell of a show tapped up for us today, and, we've got a hell of a week tapped up for us as well. But I'm excited for today, my man. We've got a nice little team here to talk about that, I've got some personal thoughts on. I don't know about you, but a lot of interesting aspects for this team here we got today.
Well, I would imagine we both have some personal thoughts on them as to why we would be doing this show on the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I like where you were going with that. However, I would agree with you. A hell of a week ahead for us, and days are just counting down for the NFL season here, my friend. Also, don't forget this Friday is a college football special edition. We'll be hammering in picks all this week. We got a game tomorrow, and then half a dozen games on Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, it is back to it, ladies and gentlemen. So Friday we had to set aside, take a break from the NFL special editions and dive deep into some college football for you guys. So that all being said, we have a loaded NFL special edition on tap as always. Pittsburgh Steelers. I know you read the title, but it's time to tell you what's coming up. As always, we got 4 segments on tap. We got the team breakdown. We got the schedule breakdown, full betting preview, and then, we'll give you our best fantasy advice in start, stash, or pass as well. All of that concludes with RMags Sidebar. Right. A little bit of banter between the crew. We have some announcements to tell you guys about. I suggest you tune into that. Do not skip that because very, very important stuff. I told you I was going to let you know on Wednesday, but fuck it. You know me. It's time to let the cat out of the bag. I confirmed some stuff late last night, so let's get after it. But you'll have to stick around to the end of the show if you want to find out what I'm actually talking about. All that being said, can't forget you guys need a little extra inspiration, motivation, get you about the rest of your day and on into Wednesday until I see you again. Got my motivation minutes for you as always, but going to do a little continuation on from yesterday. Had a little extra stuff on my heart in addition to that, and it kind of formulated another motivation minutes. So if you were around for yesterday's, you're definitely going to like today's, but if you didn't hear yesterday's, you'll definitely like today's too. So maybe it'll encourage you to go back and listen to yesterday's motivation minutes. All that being said, cut all the nonsense, cut all the drama. Oh shit, I forgot. Before we cut everything completely, huge news of the morning, maybe the biggest news of the NFL season so far, preseason, regular season coming up, whatever the hell you want to say.
Most likely.
Cam Newton released from the New England Patriots. Very, very, very surprising. Both me and my partner's jaws hit the floor this morning.
Yeah, man.
And, you know, Riley, I will say it because I don't know if you were going to have the gumption to say it on the pod, but I am right there with you. We have a nice hot take we would like to dish out that quite possibly might happen. Would you like to say it?
Is it the hot take that we're talking about here?
Mr. Watson,
Okay,
yes.
yeah. Not an actual take, but, this
Hot take.
It's a hot take. Deshaun Watson traded for Mac Jones? Question mark. Bill Belichick has his connections to figure out if Deshaun Watson's situation is all good. And the Texans would be fucking stupid to say no to that. I'm not saying they've got until the afternoon or they got to do it in the middle of the season, but...
hey, 2 p.m., maybe Deshaun Watson is a New England Patriot.
That would be wild, man. That would be wild. It would be shocking. It would be shocking. I think they've got the faith in Mac Jones, but if it happens, you heard it here.
Hey, you heard it here first, but we also talked about where does he potentially go. Maybe the Eagles, but they just picked up Gardner Minshew. Not really an option there. And they also have Joe Flacco. And then you kind of can go across the board, maybe the Lions if something were to happen with Jared Goff, who knows. But there are so many iffy situations. It just doesn't seem like Cam is going to get picked up.
Denver is one that I was thinking about, not saying he starts over Teddy Bridgewater, but if something happens to Teddy, that's a pretty similar. I know, but if they liked Drew Lock enough, he'd be week 1 starter, though. That's kind of where I'm thinking with that. So I don't know, man.
That's also true. Who knows? But now you know Cam is no longer a Patriot, and we'll have to see if he's going to get picked up before the deadline or maybe into 2021. What are you thumbing me?
Stephon Gilmore on the PUP list, the PUP list. He's out at least the first 6 weeks for the Patriots as well.
Ooh, goodness gracious. All right, well, things are getting worse for the Patriots by the day here. All right, or by the second as it goes now. But let's cut all that nonsense. We'll talk about that later on in the show. It's time to get into today's NFL Special Edition, the 25th on tap, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steel City. Whatever you want to say, they play out of Heinz Field. I still believe it is nowadays. I don't know if they changed it. It is still Heinz Field. Question marks.
Yep.
In a few areas.
Sure.
But there shouldn't be so many question marks with them pretty much returning the exact same team outside of the offensive line.
Sure.
Offensive line being mentioned, that's actually one of my biggest question marks. So I'll save all of that. We'll get into everything here very, very shortly. I'm chomping at the bit.
Yes,
I
sir.
know you are too.
Yes, sir.
Let's get into the first segment of the day.
Alrighty.
Full team breakdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers. As always, we'll kick things off offensively, talk about the key losses and additions, some 2020 numbers, and then give you the overall outlook for 2021. Flip the script on the defense, and then talk about the coaching staff as well. So first things first, as far as the key losses go, let me tell you about those, and then I'll kick it over to my partner for the key additions offensively. They let the old dog, Alejandro Villanueva, right tackle, go. He is now playing for the Ravens. They also let James Conner go. We talked about him back on the Cardinals episode. They let right tackle Matt Feller go. He is now with the Chargers. So obviously teams are still finding value in these guys they are letting go. Let go right guard Danny Isadora. At the time of this writing, when I had found this, he had not signed with a new team. I'm not sure if he has yet or not. Right tackle Gerald Hawkins, same case for him. And then Marquise Pouncey, center as well. So a few big names out of there, most notably the offensive line, why I mentioned something about that. But I will tell you guys about that in just a little bit. Partner, hit me and them with those offensive additions for the Steelers going into 2021.
Alrighty, so free agency and trades. I guess busy is a word that you could use, but they didn't really open up their checkbook this offseason. They picked up Joe Haig, right guard for about $2.29 million. That was the most expensive acquisition they made in free agency. BJ Finney, center, Rashad Coward, right guard. All of these guys are most likely going to be depth offensive linemen, so solid depth adds at the offensive line, but nothing to write home about there. As far as the draft, though, that's really where they made their big acquisitions, not accusations, excuse me. First round, Najee Harris, everybody knows, out of Bama.
Roll Tide.
There you go. And second round tight end, Pat Freiermuth out of Penn State. He is most likely going to be the number 2 tight end. We may see him as things go along here. Third round, they pick up Kendrick Green out of ILL, Illinois.
INI.
Offensive guard. He will most likely be another depth ad there for the offensive line.
I'm just your fucking soundboard over here.
Yeah, I guess so. Another ad there for the defensive, offensive depth there. So nice depth to their offensive line this offseason, but we'll see if it makes an impact. Another one, offensive tackle Dan Moore out of Texas A&M. And for what it's worth, not sure if you were going to mention it, partner, a 7th round, they pick up punter Presley Harvin III out of Georgia Tech.
Hey, kickers are people too. I
Sure
appreciate you, my friend. All right, well, there goes. Key losses, key additions offensively for the 2021 Pittsburgh Steelers. How about some 2020 stats before we talk about everything 2021? Well, I'm glad you asked because I got them right here. In 2020, the Steelers averaged 5.2 yards per play. They ran the ball 34.52% of the time and passed the ball 65.48% of the time. I don't believe that pass and rush split was because of the elite level of the running or the elite level of the wide receivers, rather being the lackluster ability of the running backs, in my opinion. But you be the judge as you wish. Completion percentage across the board, 65.61%. Third down conversion percent was at 42.86, so obviously going to have to improve that a lot. That once again was because a lot of that poor rushing, but hopefully with Najee Harris coming in this year, they have something to write home about, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. And then in the red zone, they scored at a 66.07 clip, so I think that stays right about the same, or maybe due for just a tad bit of regression if I do say so myself, but we'll talk about that definitely here in just a second, and then even more when it comes to the schedule. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to the schedule, believe you me, and it might be very surprising to a lot of you guys. So make sure you stick around for that. I mean, stick tuned. That doesn't make any sense at all. So stick around for that in the second segment. But moving right along, let me give you the projected Week 1 starters here for the Steelers in 2021, accompanied by some of my overall outlooks. Then I'll kick it over to you, partner. Then we'll change the defensive side of the ball.
Okay.
So as far as the offensive line goes, looks like starters are going to be Zach Banner, Trey Turner, J.C. Hassenauer, Kevin Dotson, and then Chukwuma Okorafor. Everybody looks to be locked in besides Hassenauer. I know there's a little bit of a competition going on right now at the center position. It does look like, though, he'll ultimately lock down that spot. Then you have the tight end, Eric Ebron. They also did bring in a tight end out of the draft. Obviously, the Pat Freiermuth, as you mentioned. Yep. And then they do have somebody else behind him, if I am not mistaken. They do have
Zach
Gentry. But other than that, nothing really to write home too major about. So it looks like Ebron will get the bulk of the workload there. And then as far as the other receivers go, names you know, Chase Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, and then backing them up, James Washington and Ray McLeod. Running backs, obviously the aforementioned Najee Harris, backed up by Benny Snell. And then the quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger and Mason Rudolph. Hopefully he has his helmet securely fixed on his head. Stop it, Colton. That was bad. That was terrible.
I thought you were going a different angle with that.
No reason to do that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. Okay. So back to it. Overall outlooks. That offensive line really causes some concern for me. Not only are they young, they're just not a unit that has any cohesion or any type of real proven ability. So that leaves a lot of question marks for me. So then that's going to leave some question marks for the running game. I love Najee Harris. Roll damn Tide. You best believe it. No question in my mind. But I'm a little concerned that we might have to temper expectations just a little bit. I think he's going to still be very solid because it was set very early on, even before the preseason started, by the owner that, hey, we're going to get back to running the ball in Pittsburgh. You better believe it. As far as the wide receiver room goes, in my opinion, I think we see about the same production. I don't think we see any crazy, insane jump from Chase Claypool or Juju Smith-Schuster. I might just be a little biased because I'm not the biggest fans in the world of some of the on and off field antics. Just my personal opinion, but I'm not the highest on him. Now, as far as Deontay Johnson, I do have high hopes for him to finally really break out here in 2021. And then behind him, Washington and McLeod, not too much to write home about, but might have a little fantasy value. We'll talk about that as well. And then Benny Snell, too, might have a little bit of fantasy value, stashing him as a handcuff for Najee Harris. Outside of that, we'll talk about it more in depth in fantasy, but partner, I want to get your opinions here. What do you think for the 2021 Steelers offense?
Yeah, pretty similar to you, my man. The offensive line is the biggest concern here. You know, these free agency acquisitions and draft acquisitions that they made really scream to me that they're just trying to throw as many guys in that conversation because either it's depth or they just don't have the faith like we kind of don't. And as the season goes on, you're going to potentially see a carousel of an offensive line, which at the beginning of the season might be an issue. And then as we get on to the season, optimistically, maybe it'll figure itself out. You might find the right combination of 5 guys. As far as the receivers, I think the promotion of Matt Canada, to offensive coordinator, I think it should help, bring some more motion to this offense, get a little more the current day modern, if you will, as opposed to the previous regime that really featured no motion at all, because these receivers are this receiving core is meant to have some motion in them. And I think that should help. But my biggest concern is that Big Ben seems to be losing that arm strength, losing that deep accuracy. So despite what I think should be an improvement in the short game of their offense, I don't really think they're going to be able to hit those big plays. And it's going to be the end-all be-all of this offense, if you will. So while I think we might see some improvements in some areas, there's still going to be a cap on this offense that I'm a little pessimistic about.
Most definitely, and we'll talk about it. It's kind of going to be the theme of the show, but for the Steelers, I mean, efficiency is the biggest thing. And if they lack in efficiency in multiple areas, it's going to be a fast, brutal, early exit for the Steelers in 2021. But before we move to the defensive side of the ball, let me give you some key rankings here, courtesy of the guys over at SFA. Quarterback room, Big Ben, Mason Rudolph come in ranked as the 22nd unit in the league. Offensive line, dead ass last, worse than the Lions, worse than the Jaguars, worse than the Bengals. I don't know. 32nd in the league is this offensive line.
That's bad.
Running back room, 20th in the league, obviously with the unproven ability of Najee Harris, and then Benny Snell being kind of a mediocre back so far over the course of his career. That's a pretty fair ranking, I would say, but definitely room to improve upon that. Receivers, they're pretty high on, though. 12th unit in the league. Obviously, some big names, some guys who have that big play potential. My partner, as you heard, is a little bit higher on them to kind of continuously produce, but as where I'm a little bit, they're going to stay just about the same, or maybe we even see a little bit of regression from last year, mainly because of the concern that you have as well. I have as well, Big Ben.
Yeah,
I just don't know what we see from Big Ben. I mean, it seems like every other time he goes to the sideline, he's got about 13 ice packs all in various spots of his body. So I just don't know that I can trust a 39-year-old quarterback. And then you say that and you look at Tom Brady, you can't even put them on the same wavelength. I apologize, but you just can't. I
mean, not to mention, we didn't really mention it, but if you read this chapter, the Steelers and SFA, they really kind of break down 2019 when Big Ben was gone. Mason Rudolph was in there for the bulk of the games. And his numbers really weren't that different from Big Ben last year, especially down the field, kind of like I was saying. So, a healthy Big Ben might have a different tune to that, but I'm not really expecting it here this year.
Me neither. Moving to the defensive side of the ball with the key losses. Partner, if you could be so kind as to kick things off with them going into 2021.
Alrighty, so while they did lose a couple of guys, they still have plenty of options on this defense to be an elite defense. They did lose Bud Dupree off the edge, and Vince Williams, linebacker, lost him this off-season to retirement, I do believe. Mike Hilton, cornerback, Olasunkami Adeniyi off the edge. That was I'm getting better at these names, but I'm not at all. I'm butchering some of these ones that I'm not familiar with.
Olasunkami Adeniyi.
All right. So Sean Davis out of the safety position.
I'm just good with names.
Avery Williamson, linebacker. J-Rone Elliott off the edge. Jordan Dangerfield.
Yin and yang. That's why we work.
Jordan Dangerfield, safety. Steven Nelson, cornerback. But obviously Bud Dupree and Vince Williams are the two biggest names here. Everyone else is depth pieces or not really too much any type of significance here, partner. How did they fill any of these holes here?
Oh, I wouldn't say the best, but I wouldn't say the worst. They picked up 6 guys either via the trade market, free agency, and also the draft. They got linebacker Miles Killebrew. They got him on a $1.1 million deal. And then also cornerback Arthur Mollett. He's under $1 million on a deal now. So we'll see what those 2 guys can bring to the table. I'm not sure that they will get immediate starting spots, but Miles Killebrew being that linebacker pickup with the retirement of Vince Williams, it's definitely going to be important for them to have some solid depth there. We'll talk about that here in just a second too. As far as the drafted players, they waited all the way until the 4th round to get Buddy Johnson, linebacker out of Texas A&M. Follow that up in the 5th with defensive tackle Isaiah Loudermilk out of Wisconsin. Then in the 6th, they got Quincy Roche, defensive end out of Miami, Florida. And then they got in the 7th round, their first pick out of 2 was Trey Norwood out of Oklahoma. So pretty solid defensive haul. I mean, obviously not too many guys that you can really write home about, not too many guys that are going to get an immediate impact, but definitely guys that are that depth add where they need, because as we'll talk about here in a little bit, they are going to battle a little bit of injury and battle some key names leaving town. But before we talk about that, let's talk about 2020 here real quick. In the year of 2020, the COVID year that we will never forget and will forever live in infamy, the Pittsburgh Steelers allowed opponents to average, I said that backwards, 5 yards per play. Opponent completion percentage was at 56.96%. Opponent third down conversion percent was at 37.71, and in the red zone, opponents only converted at a 56% clip. So overall, that defense is damn good and damn solid, but when you put up numbers that good across the board, it's only natural that you see some type of regression going into the following year. So I'm a little concerned about that, but let me tell you about the projected starters before we get into some outlooks here. As far as the line goes, going to look very similar to what it did last year. TJ Watt, Stephen Tuitt, Cam Hayward, and Alex Highsmith. So very dominant defensive line. Nothing you really have to worry about there. Rounding out the front 7, a little bit of question marks here. Obviously, Devin Bush coming off of the injury last year. And then they had Vince Williams projected, but then he retired unexpectedly. Now they have some decent depth, I do believe. If you remember last year against the Titans, Robert Spillane meeting old Derrick Henry in the hole. I think he could definitely impress, get maybe that second, third down role, or maybe even move himself into the starting position. They do also have the aforementioned Killebrew that I just talked to you guys about. That is going to be very important to fill that hole. And then a few other guys worth noting. They have Melvin Ingram, picked him up from the Los Angeles Chargers, so that's also absolutely terrific. He is coming into his 11th full season, but either way, he's still producing at a very high level. And then behind them, you got Christian Kuntz, Buddy Johnson, Jameer Jones, definitely notable guys. So I think they should be Joe Schobert. I think they got plenty of guys to really alleviate any question marks when it comes to this linebacker room. So I'm pretty high on this front 7 to stay dominant. This secondary, however, I love the names. I love their production. I think that they are just going to be right around the middle of the pack. I don't know that they're going to be that high-flying Steelers defense that we know and love and are forcing a bunch of turnovers. I hope so, but at the same time, I could see them producing and maybe the defensive line regression. Something regresses here. I just don't know for sure. But in the secondary, you have Justin Lane, Cam Sutton, and Joe Hayden as the main defensive backs. And then in the deep secondary, Terrell Edmonds and the legendary at this point, Mika Fitzpatrick. So with those names, I mean, you say, Colt, how can they possibly struggle? I know, I look at it too, but something has to regress here. I don't know what it necessarily will be. Maybe it will be the defensive line, but I hate to say that with TJ Watt and Stephen Tuitt and Cam Hayward. I mean, that's just too much for me. And then even with the linebacker questions, I still think that they have plenty of guys on the depth chart to fill those holes, that it's not going to cause any problems. So if I don't see any regression there, well, where the hell else am I going to look for regression? So I guess that's kind of my cup of tea, what I'm saying. Maybe it happens the Bass Ackwards way and I'm totally off, or maybe there's no fucking regression at all and I'm just a moron and a half. But that's just how I feel. I think they still have a great defense, but Partner, how you feeling about the defense going into 21?
I am a little higher than you on this defense here. This is one of my favorite defenses of the league. Not saying that it's not one of yours, but I don't know if we see regression, maybe on the numbers itself, just because they have some high-flying offenses that they play this year. But overall, I mean, part of the reason why I don't personally see regression is because they got a few of their biggest playmakers that may not have even played their best football yet. TJ Watt, Devin Bush, Minkah Fitzpatrick, they are still pretty damn young, and they could still even have another level to go to, at least one of these guys. So while some of their secondary, aside from Minkah Fitzpatrick, I don't want to say it concerns me, but if I'm going to nitpick this defense, that would be where I would nitpick it for sure. And maybe Joe Hayden ages a little bit and we start to see his age. So that would be, if I'm going to nitpick this defense, where I'm going to nitpick is that secondary, because I think with the health, I think that front seven is going to be damn good once again. So I'm pretty damn optimistic about this defense. I'm not saying it's my number one favorite defense, but it's definitely in the conversation with a couple of these others that we've talked about.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of saying. I mean, it's more of a nitpick, and I'm just a little concerned. Like, when you have such a good season last season, and then just to continuously follow it up. But then again, it's the Steelers defense, and I feel like I want to walk back my statement. So I'm somewhere right in the middle. I think they keep the team in games. I don't think you have to worry about them, but I don't think they're going to be, we'll talk about in fantasy, number one overall defense. Holy shit, the Steelers are back.
Well, I forgot to mention Melvin Ingram. That is such a low-risk, high-reward acquisition this offseason. They did not really break the bank for him. And if he is healthy and gets back to even 80-90% of what he used to be, that is another monster in this defense. So I kind of predict that. He is damn good when he's healthy, and I'm kind of expecting it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think he will definitely be an X factor in this defense. So maybe come in a few weeks, I look like a total ass and I got to walk back all of these statements I said about regression. But then again, we'll talk about it in the schedule preview. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a cupcake schedule last year, and then all of the holes and flaws got exposed in the final 6 games. They went 1-5 for fuck's sakes. Don't look at me like I got a freaking horn growing out of my forehead, okay? Just stay tuned in and let me keep talking and telling you about the Steelers. That all being said, the coaching staff. Actually, before we get into the coaching staff, key rankings. Can't ever forget some key rankings. Courtesy of the guys over at SFA. Our guys, the Warren Sharp, and also I got to give credit where credit is due. I got to find their ats again so I can at all the other guys on there. But these guys are, bar none, cannot wait to bet right alongside with them. Hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit of that knowledge. Not necessarily believing I'm going to drop a thousand bar to get some picks when I do this myself. So that all being said, the front seven comes in ranked as the second unit in the league and 12th ranked secondary in the league. So obviously they're way higher than me on them, no questions at all. And then they're right about where Mags is as well. So, I might look like a total ass, but I'm just saying, maybe I'm not saying, who knows, we could see a little something that we don't all like from the Steelers defense, but they should be pretty damn good nonetheless. Now into that coaching staff. The head coach returning as always, it seems at this point. Once again, we talked about Sean Payton and Bill Belichick, a guy who's right in the same conversation. Mike Tomlin coming into his 15th official season as Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. He has made a name for himself at this point in time. Offensive coach Matt Canada has now been promoted from the QB coach up to the OC this season. And then Keith Butler is now the defensive coordinator. So brand new OC, not really. He's been with the team. Other than that, Keith Butler coming in for his 6th official season. So I think we see a lot of the same from the Steelers. And that's kind of what I mean, is we might see a little bit of regression in some area. They didn't really make all too many changes as far as letting guys go, and any guys they did let go, they've backfilled with solid names. Any of their superstar players, either offensive or defensively, they kept around. I just think it's going to be that same Steelers team that we've seen. And what did we see in the last 6 weeks of the season? And that's when their schedule really got hard. And once again, we'll talk about it very soon. I don't want to spill all the beans and the forecasts and stuff, but this is a tough schedule this year.
Sure. Yeah, and to put a cap on the coaching staff, I think the move for Matt Canada to what they previously had is a good move, but as we're about to talk about, it's the schedule difference from last year to this year that might be the final blow to this team here.
Absolutely. So with all that being said, we keep teasing it. We keep talking about it. If you guys got any Steelers questions, any NFL questions, any betting questions, you guys want anything in between, we love connecting with you. Jump on over there in the live chat. Just drop it on down over yonder, and we'll answer it here shortly once we get back in action. So whenever we get a chance to see it. So that all being said, second segment of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move right along into the full schedule breakdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in 2021. As always, we're not going week by week, but I will tell you, we're saving that for the betting preview, and I will tell you also that the week 7 is their bye week. But for the schedule breakdown, we will give you some of their key games. Well, actually, not their key games. All of their games. We'll break it down. Division 8 main non-divisional opponents, and then the 3 outside of that. We'll give you our full record predictions, and then we'll dive into the betting segment after a little bit of rest and prep inequalities as well. Before I do, this schedule, we just said it, extremely hard. It was very, very easy last year, and it is actually expected, projected, analyzed, however you want to say it, to the Steelers to face the second toughest overall schedule based on win totals right now. Right. So I am pretty doggone concerned. If it is not going to be the defense that has issues, then it's definitely going to be the offense that has issues. So, AFC North, first things first. As far as the Ravens go, I will give them a nice split. You thought I was going to say 2-0, and no, I am not. I am going to go with a nice split. Last year, they went 1-1 with them as well, I do believe. That is correct.
They actually got both of them, but one of them, the Ravens were ravaged by COVID in one of the two.
That is correct. I forgot about that. So, yes, I will definitely give the Steelers to get one of their licks back against the Ravens. But it did look like the Ravens kind of had that formula against the present-time Steelers that we see. The Bengals, I will also give them a split. I just see something happening. The Bengals got a win over them last year. It would not surprise me if they had the ability to do it again. I mean, it was 27-17 in Week 15, so another late season game. Who knows? The 2 weeks they play them are Week 12 and Week 3. So Week 12 potentially after Sunday Night Football in Cincinnati. I'm not opposed to that, so I'll give them a split again. And then the Brownies, man, and Steelers fans, don't hate me for this. I'm going 0-2 against the Brownies. I think the Brownies have the formula. I think this is Stefanski's year, and I think the Browns, as I've been talking since episode 7 or 8, whatever the Browns were, or NFL Special Edition, I'm getting higher and higher on the Browns by the second. So give me them 0-2 against the Browns. So overall, 2-4 in the AFC North.
Goodness.
Whoa.
Goodness. So I'm going to sing a similar tune on a couple of these teams. I'll start with the Browns. I am right there with you. I think the Browns cracked the code last year. Obviously, in the regular season, these teams split. The Steelers beat the doors off them in the first game. But then that second game for the Browns, and then in the playoffs, the Browns had their number. And I think we see the same once again this year. Much like you, I am also going with a split with the Ravens, whether that be... these games are just close. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go a split, and maybe the Week 18 game, the Ravens, whether they're the division or in the wild card, maybe they got something wrapped up. So I'll go a split there. But I'm giving the Steelers both wins against the Bengals. Despite that game that they lost to them last year, I think this is just a brutal matchup for this Bengals offense. And it does alarm me because the Bengals won that game without Joe Burrow, and I love Joe Burrow, but that offensive line in the Bengals is not that much improved, and I think the Steelers' defense is just the terrible matchup for this Bengals offense.
It's the same Steelers defense. I know. I thought
that's fair. That's fair, but I'm going to 2-0, 2 wins against these Bengals.
Okay. So we are just only opposing on the Bengals, which causes you to go 4-2.
That's 3-3. I got
that is 3-3. I thought you went split and split.
Oh no, you
2-0
against the Browns.
Okay, so it is
0-2. Excuse me.
0-2 against the Brownies. All right, just so I remember there. All right, next set of 4 teams. These are the start of the 8 main non-divisional teams, AFC West. Now, I'm going to start with the Broncos here because this game is played in the Steel City and is after an extremely difficult game against the Packers. Following the game against the Broncos, they play the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football at a 3-game rest disadvantage. I don't want to say they look past the Broncos, but if the Broncos come out swanging,
Okay.
the Steelers could drop this one.
Okay.
I'll give them the win
Okay.
because it's in Hines, but the Broncos could get this one if the Steelers are not careful about how serious they take them and
Okay.
looking too far into Sunday Night Football for the Seahawks. This is what I'm saying. Then, Chiefs, I don't think so. No question. I don't think Patty Mahomes is going to let that happen or Andy Reid's going to let that happen.
No.
Chargers is going to be a toss-up in my mind. I give the defensive edge to the Steelers, but I also give the offensive edge to the Chargers.
Yep.
So if it ends up in a shootout, and I think Justin Herbert can navigate that defense just fine and limit turnovers, I think the Chargers could get that game, and I lean a little bit harder to the Chargers than I do the Broncos. So I'm going to, I'm going to say they get that game. The Chargers get that game, and then I'll say the Steelers definitely get the game over the Raiders. So
Okay.
I say they go 3-1 in the AFC West with a potential lean to 2-2 if they lose to the Broncos.
Okay. I am going 2-2. I'm giving them the win over the Raiders, giving them a loss over the Chiefs. I'm going to give the Chargers the win in this one in LA, and I'm going with a win over the Broncos, though I think that I'm so excited to watch that game. That is going to be such a low-scoring, grind-out game. But I like what you said there, but I think they're going to lose to the Packers in Lambeau. So then, I don't think they're going to overlook the Broncos because that's an AFC opponent that they're going to be potentially battling for playoff position for. So
Sure.
I think that's going to be a big game on their schedule, and they're going to make sure they get that one. And if it was in Denver, I'd be changing my tune saying the Broncos, but give me 2-2 out of the AFC West here.
With wins over
Raiders
the
and Broncos.
Raiders and Broncos, all right. And I'm going with an additional win over the Chargers.
Okay.
I think.
I just have liked the Chargers too much to not give the Chargers that win there.
Yeah, That you said it. I was kind of on the fence. I'm gonna go ahead and stick with that too. So we'll both go 2-2 in the West.
Okay.
NFC North. We got the Bears. Bear down. Me being a homer, I'd say they get that win. Let's do a little investigation. That is in the Steel City on Monday Night Football. I give that to the doggone Steelers.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
as much as I don't want. Well, that's week 9. Justin Fields might be starting at that point in time. Who knows what that offense looks like? There's just too many question marks in Chicago. Damn it!
Damn it. Here we go.
Oh, it's stupid fucking Nat Nagy and the damn Ryan Pace, and I just want. I'm sorry.
Here we go.
I'm sorry. We have Steelers to talk about. All right, I'm sorry. I'll give the Steelers the win over the Bears. Unbiased analyst hat back on. I will give the Steelers the win over the Lions, and I will give them the win over the Vikings.
Okay.
They're going to lose to the Pack 3-1 out of the NFC North.
I am actually
fucking
who fucking knows. I am actually right there with you, my man. I was kicking. I think that Bears Steelers game is going to be a damn good game. If it was in Chicago, I might actually lean to your Bears. But the Bears and those Vikings games is a big old question marks for me. I'm obviously going to give the Packers a win in Week 4. I'm giving the Steelers the win in Week 10 at home against the Lions. And I'm giving the Steelers a win over the Bears. I do think it'll probably be Justin Fields, but even then, I'm not. I'm losing faith in your offensive line by the day. And while I think Justin Fields will still have some success, I think this defense might be a really bad matchup for whoever is at quarterback there with that offensive line.
You don't like the new addition to Jason Peters?
Yeah, we'll see. And then Week 14 at Minnesota. That is such a toss-up for me, but I'm leaning towards the Steelers. I don't really trust Kirk Cousins, in primetime or against a defense like this for this matter. So I will also go 3-1 here against the NFC North.
All right, so we're both sticking 3-1 once again. Sorry, I had to get my pen so I could stay. Yeah,
I'd love to see the Steelers wreaking havoc on everyone other than the Pack.
Yeah, but hopefully that is not the case. So for my benefit, but unbiasedly, we're both going 3-1
Yep.
the NFC North. 3 remaining games: the Buffalo Bills, the Tennessee Titans, and the Seattle Seahawks. I do not believe they get the win over the Bills. I just do not see it. I think this is going to be a defensive matchup. I think Josh Allen, if I'm backing any quarterback, I'm going to back Josh Allen over Big Ben, and I think they edge it out in a touchdown game.
Okay.
Titans, That one's very interesting to me. That's week 15
Week
at
15,
home.
3-day advantage. They beat them 27-24 week 7 in Tennessee last year.
Might be very, very important for the Tennessee Titans, but
I think that's just going to be a big game for both of these teams.
that's going to be a huge game. So that one's kind of a toss-up to me. With the defensive question marks for the Titans, I'll give that one to the Steelers.
Okay.
So 1-1 so far, and then that Monday Night Football game against the Seahawks is very, very interesting. Or Sunday Night Football game. That's right before their bye in week 6.
Yeah.
3-day rest disadvantage. It is at Heinz Field. But
They will also be, if it's our predictions are correct, they may be 2-3 coming into that game. Well, I guess we gave them the win against the Broncos. Never mind. It could be 3-2.
3-2. So, and they very well could be 2-3.
They could be very easily 2-3, though.
You know, and if that is the case, then, and I could see 2-3 a lot easier. Damn. Hot take. I'm gonna go 1-2, remaining 3. I'm gonna say they lose to the Bills and the Seahawks.
Okay, I am gonna go just 1-2, one way or another. And it's gonna be the Titans or the Seahawks. I think the Bills should win that game in Buffalo week 1. Case for the Steelers, maybe the Bills' offense starts a little slow to start the season, but I still don't really expect that. So I'll give it to the Bills. And then one way or another, I'll give them a win over either the Titans or the Seahawks. I really don't know what it's going to be. I really don't know what to expect out of those games. A lot of games that I am very excited as a fan of, defensive football. I am very excited to see the Steelers defense against some of these teams. But I'm going to go 1-2 out of these last 3, my man.
Mags, this is the worst one yet.
I think it is.
This is the worst one yet. So if you've been following along at home, if you are with me, we are predicting the Steelers go 8-9. If you are with Mags, you are predicting the Steelers go 9-8. The Steelers' current season win total is set at 8.5 wins.
Goodness gracious, man.
So, as always, we have a shitload to talk about when it gets to the season win total portion of the betting preview coming up in the next segment, as if we didn't already have enough to talk about as their season-long betting value quickly approaches. Yeah, maybe we really should make a career out of this handicapping thing. Huh?
Yeah, maybe, huh?
All right. That all being said, before we move into the third segment of the day, let me give you some key rest and prep stats here for the Steelers. Now, I told you guys their schedule is shitty, a lot shittier than last year.
Yeah.
The rest and prep category as well is equally, if not more, shitty.
Yeah.
They play 6 opponents that have over a week to prepare for them, and only 2 that have under a week to prepare.
And there's a
Who
few,
would those be?
Yeah, the ones that they have under a week. Sorry, it's tough
you didn't have it off the head.
No, I got the rest disadvantage. I was just gonna say it's key games.
Key
where
games,
the
for sure.
disadvantage is,
Either way, just know it's key games.
Yeah.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, you're good.
5 teams they play at a rest disadvantage,
There you go.
and 3 teams they play with a rest advantage. The Pittsburgh Steelers play a short week road game twice in 2021, and they play 1 game off of a road Sunday night or Monday night football game. It is not looking good at all in that category, ladies and gentlemen. I do not know how much of a factor this is going to play, but in my opinion, I think it is going to loom extremely large. That's just my educated guess. I don't know for sure, but you look at the schedule, and it does not look good at all.
Right.
I don't know what you're thinking, partner, but before we move along, if you got anything to cap off.
No, I
the
mean, just to
schedule.
say some of those key disadvantages, 3 against the Seahawks disadvantage on Sunday night, 8 against the Lions. We don't think that's going to be a problem in Pittsburgh. 3 against the Chiefs in KC, -1 against the Browns, -1 against the Ravens. You mentioned the short road week game. They play the Vikings on Thursday night after they just played the Ravens in week 13 at home. I mean, they do get +4 against the Browns in Cleveland week 8 and +3 against the Titans in week 15. That one's good. But I mean, the +4 against the Browns, that's off their bye week. You'd typically hope for a full week advantage. I assume the Browns are playing on Thursday night in week 7, but
see what we
goodness,
mean
man.
by difficult?
Yeah.
Definitely not going to be the easiest here in 2021 for the aforementioned Steelers.
Nope.
Well, that all being said, that does it. Full schedule breakdown. You missed anything, feel free to rewind. Or, hey, if you're watching live, don't go nowhere. Just wait till later. It'll be there all the way to and through the entire 2021 NFL season. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, strap in. It's time. Third segment of the day. You know, we're degenerates deep down at the bottom of our hearts. So we got to give you a full season betting preview before we get back to business as usual, dishing out my picks, RMags picks, the special play of the day, the money line dice roll of the day, and then anything we may else pepper in there. A few things we might change from what you knew the show before, but it will be back to betting picks, business as usual. None of this extra fluff or nonsense.
I'm excited for a little money line dice on maybe an NFL matchup that we don't really know about, huh?
I cannot wait.
Maybe a little college action.
Cannot wait for the pristine cubicle objects
Seriously.
to remake their appearances back on this show, boys and girls. I cannot wait.
Maybe a little Friday college football dice action.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Maybe the Moneyline Dice make their first appearance in almost over a month on the TTL pod on Friday's show.
They were hot.
They were hot. Okay. Maybe the crew has spoken that Friday the Dice may just have an opportunity to dish out and speak to us. But sticking with today's show, betting preview coming up right now. Let's go back to the past just for a moment, talk about some of their 2020 trends and stats. Something I'm very concerned about and why I just think there is some regression. This is Colton the Better. Colton, the sports betting analyst, not just the pure NFL analyst. This is why I think there's going to be some regression. 2020, they were favored by 5.1 points. In 2021, they're favored by under a point on average. 0.2 points, the Steelers are favored in 2021. Favored in 8 games, dogs in 8 games, and they got to pick them against the Browns that I keep telling you about. Is going to be a very, very significant game, and my partner thinks so too. The Browns got the formula. That's a pick 'em in week 17. 2020 was pretty good for them, but that was because of the entire early season that they had. 10-6 ATS, 12-4 straight up. I personally think that's a little fraudulent. Sorry, Steelers fans.
Seriously.
8-5 ATS as a favorite and 2-1 ATS as a dog. At home, they did defend Hines rather well, 7-1 straight up with a 5-3 ATS record. They were never a home dog, so they had that same 5-3 ATS as a home favorite. On the road, exact same straight up and ATS splits, 5-3 as a road favorite. They were 3-2, and as an away dog, they were 2-1 against the number. So obviously good numbers. Obviously you think you could ride home about that, but in my humble opinion, I just said it. I think those are a little bit fraudulent, and I think we see some struggles against the numbers. But I'll tell you more about that once we get to the weekly breakdown here. Let me flip the script over to game totals. They had an average total of 45.3 in 2020. Now in 2021, it's ticked up a little bit, 46.7. So maybe the Steelers are going to be in a shit ton of shootouts, and they are going to be losing those shootouts by just that much. Now, in 2020, they had an 8-7-2 over-under overall record, over-under or push. Obviously, that's including the playoffs as well. At home, they were 5-3-1. On the road, they were 3-4-1. As a favorite, they were 5-6-1. And as a dog, they were 3-1-1. All of those aforementioned are over-under push straight up. Now, as far as the old teasers go, the Steelers are a team you might want to go ahead and look. Yesterday's team was a team you got to be pretty tentative on. But hey, you need an extra one of them legs, get you into that plus money Pauly category we always talk about with them 10-point teasers. Steelers might be a team to look at. 14-2 overall in 10-point teasers last year, and then in 6-7 they were 12-4. So I'm gonna be a little bit more tentative in 6-7.
Most definitely.
But shit, if I can get them through 3, 4, 5 numbers here, I am more than happy to build them on my usual Sunday 10-point teaser.
Right.
That all being said, that is some 2020 key stats. Wanted to let you guys know about. One other thing wanted to let you guys know about popped into my head. In one-score games last year, they were 7-2 straight up. So even more plays into my prediction of high-scoring games, Steelers losing shootouts. 7-2 in one-score games, less than 8 points, so basically a touchdown, and they were 1-1 in less than 3-point games, so basically a field goal. So somewhere there's due for regression, and hey, maybe it's not the team. Maybe it's just a record. Maybe there's not somewhere on the team that you can pinpoint, but just as a whole,
tougher games.
They just goof up, and it's just tougher games and a tougher schedule. Maybe that's what it comes down to. I don't know. But that bared mentioning as well to you guys. That all being said, let's go back to the future, partially in the present, but also forward looking, not too far away, 9 fucking days away. The start of the NFL season. Let's break down that aforementioned season for these Steelers here week by week. Now,
ticked up a half point before you start, partner.
Oh, papa, week 1. They play the Buffalo Bills in Beefalo. It is a 6.5 point spread, and the Steelers are getting those 6.5 points. Week 2 is at home.
6.
It has now ticked up a hook. It was at 5.5 at open. They are laying a 2 field goals, you could say, against the Raiders at Heinz Field. Week 3, goodness gracious, they are laying 6 points. That's why I about said 6 at home against the Bengals. Week 4, they are in Lambeau getting 2.5 against the Pack. Week 5, they are at home against the Broncos. They are laying 4.5 points there. Week 6, they are the favorites in that Sunday night football game that I keep mentioning, but only by 2.5 points. Week 7 is their bye. Week 9, they are in Cleveland. They are getting 4.5 points in that game. Week 9, they're laying 5.5 points against the Bears at home, and then a touchdown and a half in Week 10 against the Lions. Then they go back to being a dog against the Chargers in LA, Week 11. Good call on the Chargers, partner. Plus 2.5 there coming in as a dog there. And then Week 12, they're laying a touchdown, so a little bit less than when it was at home, this time in Cincinnati against the Bengals, laying only a field goal. Then in Week 13, they are getting 2.5 points against the Ravens. That one is at home in Heinz Field. And then Week 14 is on the road in Minnesota. They're getting 2.5 points against the Vikings. Very interesting there as well. We talked about that one too. Week 15, laying a field goal against the Tennessee Titans. I do believe that is the one that they win. We both believe that's one of the ones they win out of their remaining 3. Then getting a little over a touchdown, 8.5 points against the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. Good fucking luck with that, Steelers. And then 17, that aforementioned pick'em against the Brownies. This time it is in Heinz Field. And then they close their season on the road in Baltimore as 5.5 point puppies.
Right.
So, overall, for you give me a little insights here, partner. I do believe that there are going to be a lot of opportunities to fade the Steelers here.
You think so?
Year.
Okay.
I think they might have a good to mediocre straight up record, but that ATS record is going to be nasty.
I think so.
It's going to be nasty, and especially, okay, average Steeler fan, one of the first states, PA, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to be legalized for sports betting.
Sure.
You're telling me every guy, gal, and their dog are not going to be running to the Steelers at -2.5 against the Pack, -4.5 against the fucking Broncos? Are you fucking kidding me?
I would say every week.
-2.5 against the freaking Seahawks? Screw those West Coasters. That's my best Yinzer accent, as good as I am, but I don't think it is. Either way, no disrespect to you Yinzers. Love you guys out there on,
Super respectful.
on the Northeast. I hope I don't check the DMs and I got hundreds of Yinzers one day. Shoot me or ring me up at the stake. Either way, that all being said, once again, I might have Yinzers after me just because of this. Saying that I think there's a lot of opportunity to fade the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, especially ATS. They might be all right straight up, but I think against the number, boys and girls, you're going to have a lot of opportunity. I mean, I like the Bengals getting 3. I think the Steelers win, definitely, but I think it's a 1-point game, a 2-point game, and it's just very, very interesting to me to see these. Are there any particular matchups jumping off the screen at you? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. I might start out tentative on this one, but just looking at their home lines, like you said, I think they'll still take care of business straight up at home, but some of these spreads, -5.5, -6, -4.5, if they win those games, I think it's going to be by about a field goal, kind of like you're saying here. So
give me +4.5 every single time. Right. Damn near, I don't even care who the team is. That is the most trappy fucking line in all of NFL spreads.
Yeah, and some of these road lines, I really don't know what to expect as far as ATS, but like you, I don't think it's going to be 10-6. At best, it might be 8-8, or excuse me, 8-9. Sorry, we got 17 games this year, but as far as specific spots, I mean, that plus 4.5 with Denver, I'm interested in that one.
Gimme.
Even your Bears plus 5.5.
Gimme.
I think whoever wins that game, I think it's going to be by about a field goal. So
I would say so.
I'm not sure what to expect early on in the season, but yeah, ATS, I'm going to be very tentative, and it's going to be real specific spots for this team, whether it's fading or taking them on the spread here.
I'm on the same exact spot as you. Now, I wouldn't say run to the window every week to fade the Steelers by any means, but definitely
Think twice.
keep your ear to the streets and think twice when you see some of these low spreads. You're like, the Steelers against the freaking Bengals? Are you kidding me? The Steelers against the Seahawks? They should mop them with their Just think about that. Think about it. Partner, I need you to think about something and lay it on me and them. Week 1. The aforementioned. Holy shit. The aforementioned team of the day, Pittsburgh Steelers. Just went blank for a second there. It's all right. I'm reset. I'm back. The gears are grinding. The computer is reset. Does not compute. But I'm here. Good to go. Ready to rock and roll. No problem. The Pittsburgh Steelers go on over yonder to Buffalo to play the Bills. They are getting 2 field goals, 6 points in week 1. Are you brave enough to take the Buffalo Bills -6 and say, oh, they're getting it done in week 1? Colt, you're right. I think they get that victory, no problem. Or are you saying, whoa. I don't know if the Bills come out that hot. Think it's going to be a shootout. Give me the 6 with the Steelers.
I think I might be staying away from this one, man. I really don't know. That 6 points
or
makes
option
me,
3, stay all the fuck away.
I mean, I'll give my pick here. I think the Steelers can make that a little muddier than we might expect. I'm not saying they win that game. I think the Bills will win that game, but I could see it being within 6 points, but I'm still just not confident enough to take either side. So professionally, I'll say I'm staying away. I'll lean towards the Steelers, keeping it close, keeping that Bills offense off balance, and kind of making a grinded out win for the Bills here in week 1. So I'm leaning towards +6 for the Steelers.
All right, leaning towards +6.
As much as I like the Bills, man, shit.
I think that game finishes by a touchdown. Actually, that's how I predicted it to finish. It's kind of a grinded out, and then Josh Allen whips it out, gets a touchdown by the end. So if they're giving me 6, my prediction's at a touchdown. I got to take the 6. So
Fair enough.
I would lean to the Buffalo Bills, but I
can't hate you for it.
I think I'm going to I'm gonna stay away with you in general as well. And if you guys always, if you didn't know, why I always say Beefalo Bills. I'm sure you guys are fucking listening. Like, why the fuck does he say Beefalo and not Buffalo?
I'm used to it.
So we had or Buffalo. We had when I used to work in the restaurant industry in a previous life of mine. I was a server. Absolutely loved it. We had a chef, Ricky, one of my guys. I loved him to death. Dug me out of a fucking ditch when it was snowing one winter. Coolest guy ever. But he would either call buffalo sauce. He said, you got the beefalo sauce or you got the buffalo sauce? So I always say either beefalo or buffalo. You got the buffalo sauce? So I always like to say that. So it's an homage to Ricky. Now you guys know and are privy to the late great Ricky. All right, that all being said, let's keep it moving with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ricky dead?
No, he is.
We can't say late great.
Well,
That's
okay, I guess he's not late great. He's not dead. He's not dead. He's still around. At least as far as I know. I hope I haven't checked Facebook in a while. Fuck me. Hey, you never know.
Prayers up to Ricky.
Nah, Ricky's good. Ricky and Betty are good as all get out. They're good. I promise they're good. All right. You never know what you're gonna get here at the TTL Pod. Back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Game total, real quick. I wanted to look at a couple of game totals, anything I saw there. And as a matter of fact, let's just keep this train moving. There ain't shit there.
Actually, before you got there's going to be a handful of unders that I'll certainly take as long as it's not a super high-powered offense here.
Okay, absolutely.
Against the Steelers, I mean.
Yeah, so, I mean, just quickly, there are a handful of 47s, 48s, 48.5s, 49s. Those are those prime numbers, and it's going to, if you see a good defense, especially going against the defense of the Steelers, and there's any offensive question marks, definitely, yeah, there's going to be some value on the unders overall. And they were a little bit of an under team, a little bit more of an over team last year, but again, if
I think those numbers were real low, if I do remember.
The numbers were really, really low, and if the shootouts are happening like I'm predicting, we might have some more overs than my partner's predicting.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see what happens, but let's keep it moving. Back to the season win total. Told you guys already. It is set at 8.5 wins. Once again, if you are with me, we think the Steelers are going to go 8-9 in the 2021 season. If you're with Mags, you guys think you're going 9-8. So this puts us in quite the doggone pickle.
It does.
I would hope you know the difference between over and under 8.5, what side you might need there. So, little confused as to what these numbers mean, partner. Give me a little bit of insight here. Over 8.5 is at plus 110.
Mm-hmm.
It's the plus money. You're the plus money Paulie in this situation. My under at 8 wins, under 8.5, is at minus 130. Am I crazy to think that hammering in the under is not too outlandish, or is this one just a stay away in general across the board?
I don't know, man. I'm trying to dissect what these prices mean, but I think the books think they're going to be either an 8 or 9 win team, and I really think it is a stay away because you think of the history of the Steelers. I mean, 2 years ago, without Big Ben, they still won 8 games, for fuck's sake. So I think one way or another they get to at least 8 games won with this defense and maybe some other flashes here and there, but I really don't know what we expect here because we gave them some wins that they could absolutely lose. We gave them some losses that they could absolutely flip and win, so I'm staying way the hell away from this one. I was kind of buying in the regression last year, I think, without really looking too deep into their schedule, and I picked the under without doing anything like we've done this year. I don't think I'm going to be doing that again, so I'm going to be staying away, partner.
I think I would have to say stay away as well. I mean, when we sit there and we have either one number above the over, one number below the under, if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know as stay the hell away, I don't know what more to tell you guys. I mean, that's prime on the money, and maybe we should try and locate a sports book and start setting season win totals for football teams, because we have been either me one over, one under, or Mags one over, one under in at least 22 out of these 25 shows. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. So, per us, stay away. Do not worry about playing the season win total for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. Now, keeping this show steaming on down the tracks, we got to talk about a little bit of conference division Super Bowl value. Are the books accurate to where we're saying? Well, if you do remember, I'm 2-4. Mags is 3-3. If you think about how we talked about the Browns already and the Ravens already, that's probably right about third place in the AFC North, and that's right where the books have them, plus 440 right now. We do believe this is the Brownies' year, but we will not be hammered it in with just the value that's on it. So if you are a diehard Steeler fan, sure, sweat it out, but they could also win the North, and I don't know. I don't see a path. You got any thoughts on the AFC North?
I mean, if you love the Steelers and you think they're going to be way better than we're talking, I mean, plus 440 is good value. Those two other teams are just really damn good. I mean, the Steelers could make the playoffs and still miss this division, or still miss out on winning the division.
That's what I was thinking.
I feel like if you're going to do something optimistic on the Steelers, if you're really loving them, if you're a big Steelers fan, if you're higher than we are, maybe take that playoffs, make the playoffs at plus 170, because the path to winning the division, I think, is just going to be too damn tough with either the Ravens or the Browns winning at least. I would say one of them at least is going to win 12 games, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I was going to go back to that after we got this all the way, the make-miss playoffs, so I'm glad you mentioned that too. No real value then kind of on the AFC winner. Maybe they make the playoffs if you want to sweat that out too. They're currently 10th at plus 2,100 odds, and then Super Bowl 56 plus 4,400. That is 19th overall. But yeah, make-miss playoffs, kind of interesting. Yes is at plus 170. No is at minus 210 right now. So, in my mind, I mean, if they get the over, they get 9-10 wins. Then again, 8-9 wins might not do it this year. I feel like that plus 170, they are begging you to take the yes to make it to the playoffs, and that's yet another red flag that goes up for me that we see some type of regression here for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2021.
Yeah, I think so too. I kind of have to walk back if you are optimistic. Alternate win total 9.5 is at plus 180. So if we think 10 wins is what the recipe for making the playoffs is, that would be a better bet than the plus 170 to make the playoffs.
Okay, I like that for sure. Well, there you go. Make-miss playoffs and then some alternate value there as well. Well, not a whole ton of value in the future market for the Steelers, but we do have a few side bets you could potentially do a little sprinklage on if you are a huge fan of the Steelers. You got Najee Harris talked about him a good amount here today. Offensive Rookie of the Year is right at plus 900 right now. If he can return the Steelers running game back to the Pittsburgh Steelers running game, then he sure damn has
definitely
a good shot at this award. And then Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt. Obviously, I'm going to stay away from this one. You know my guy. I'm still high as all hell on Chase Young. We'll continue to be high on Chase Young, and I'm going to say TJ Watt's got some value at plus 270. He could definitely have a good season, but I just think Chase Young is going to have some numbers this year, boys and girls.
Yeah, I'm with you. I won't hammer it in, but like you, I do think it has the value, because he's going to put up ridiculous numbers and he's going to be on a really good defense. So that certainly helps his value and certainly helps his path. But like you, I am interested in Chase Young and Myles Garrett, one of those two guys as well, because I think those two are going to have, or at least one of those two is going to have an absolutely absurd year. So value, yes. Am I going to be hammering it in? No.
All right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The entire season betting preview from the start all the way till the end in the future market side plays. Everything you need to know for the Pittsburgh Steelers betting season. Let's wrap things up here. Fourth and final segment of the day with our best fantasy advice. In the segment, we have coined Start, Stash, or Pass. Without further ado, partner, kicking it over to you as always. Quarterback room, we have the man who eats helmets better than I've ever seen in my life. Colton, that's twice. Why do you keep doing that? Mason Rudolph, or QB1 at this point in time, Ben Roethlisberger. Will you be targeting them in your upcoming draft? And if you are privy of getting your hands on either of these two gentlemen, will you be starting them, stashing them, or hey, Colt, forget everything you just said. I'm passing on these fellers all together?
You know, I think I might stash Big Ben, but I really have to be in a pinch if I'm taking him in the draft. He was number 14 quarterback last year in fantasy. I think we kind of see the same thing there, but, kind of like we've seen throughout his career, there's going to be games where he looks absolutely terrible. He gets you, 10 points in fantasy, and I think we might see that one or two more times than we're used to this year. So while I do think he might finish right around number 14, 15, and he's worth a backup spot, I'm definitely not starting him, and, I'm going to be a little tentative on even drafting him this year.
Sure. I would be right there with you, man. I tried to play Ben Roethlisberger for the past 2 seasons in a side league of ours, not in our league.
Right.
And it just never seems to pan out the way you need it to pan out. So I just, once again, I don't think I can have faith for third or fourth season here. Maybe worth a stash. Like you said, if you get in a pinch, possibly, but he definitely falls in that QB2 tier, and now we're getting to age 39. I think he falls a little bit into the mid to maybe even low of that second tier of QB2s.
I was looking this morning. I think ESPN has him ranked 20 coming into this year for quarterback.
Really?
Yeah.
Wowzer kapowzer. All right. Well, that all being said, let's keep this show steaming down the tracks here this segment rather, with the running back room. Obviously not a whole lot of value, we believe, in the quarterback room. Not going to be going out of our way for Big Ben or Mason Rudolph. But the running backs might have some value here. As far as Najee Harris goes, obviously, you know me, huge fan of the big elephants down there in Tuscaloosa. Roll
Bama.
damn Tide. But I think Najee Harris, I'll put him in an RB2 category. I think he has the potential to break out as an RB1.
Sure.
But just what we've seen from a production level from the Pittsburgh Steelers rushing game over the course of the last few seasons, it's just hard for me to believe that we see a huge major change and jump in that category. I know that Matt Canada knows it is a very big focus and maybe a reason why he keeps his job for a second year, but he is just too much of a passing guy for me to really believe that rushing game is going to really produce. So I think Najee has a great season, but I will limit him to an RB2 role for the time being, with definitely the possibility of an RB1 breakout.
Yeah.
Don't let me you think that I'm not saying that for sure. And then Benny Snell has the potential to be an elite handcuff. He was actually all the guys in the backfield last year. He was the best out of all of them when it came for an EPA per attempt statistical category. So I like him as a handcuff. I wouldn't go out of my way. If it's some of the late rounds and you're kind of getting some of them bench running back spots filled, definitely take a look at Benny Snell because he could be worth a spot. What do you think about the running backs here fantasy-wise?
Very, very similar to you, my man. I think Najee Harris is a top-of-the-line RB2, and much like you, I think he could break out into being an RB1. I was looking at where he might be going in drafts. ESPN, I just mentioned about Big Ben, where they have him ranked. Najee Harris is coming in as the 12th ranked running back. And I think it's going to be really dependent on what you're seeing on your board coming down when he is there. I don't think you should reach too high from him. I think that ranking is perfect. But I don't think he's going to be falling too far beyond that. I mean, Antonio Gibson's right ahead of him, Nick Chubb, a couple of these other guys that I'm just a little bit more confident that, if they're healthy, we know what they're going to produce. So I don't think, I still take him ahead of guys like Clyde Edwards-Helaire and, a couple of these other guys that are, 13 to 15th ranked. So I'd love to have him, but I'm going to let somebody else reach a little higher for him.
All right, I would have to agree with you with everything you said. Just you agree with everything that I said. So we're pretty much on the exact same damn page there for the running backs. So we're a little differing maybe in the wide receiver room, I'm thinking here. So Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool and Juju Smith-Schuster obviously going to be the ones we can choose from the most here. I would say I would put Chase Claypool in the wide receiver 2 pool. No pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has the potential to break out as a wide receiver 1, but I think he's going to be overvalued and overdrafted. And then if he doesn't break out this year, it is going to be a sore loss for anybody who has them on their fantasy team. So I will limit him to wide receiver 2, maybe even wide receiver 3. I just think there's going to be more weeks than not that we're just not going to see that production.
Okay.
Juju, I don't know, man. I don't know if we've seen the best years of his career. I don't know if he needs TikTok in order to have 3-4 touchdowns a game. I don't know. The inconsistency factor is kind of really what it does it for me. Just too many question marks going into 2021. I won't be targeting him. I won't go out of my way for him by any means. Obviously, I'd put him in a wide receiver 2 flex category, solid flex for sure, but I'm just not going to go out of my way for him. And then Deontay Johnson, I'm actually pretty high on. Solid flex that definitely has a wide receiver 3, potential wide receiver 2 breakout here in 2021. So I like him on the opposite side of Schuster in the slot. So I'm a big fan of Deontay Johnson. Then James Washington and Ray McLeod, definitely worth a red flag. Two guys who have definitely shown flashes in the past, so maybe could potentially fill a spot for you. But for now, I'd stick with the main 3, and out of all of them, I would target Deontay Johnson, but the most value, I would say Chase Claypool.
I am right there with you for the most part. I actually think Deontay Johnson might have the most value out of this room, though. All these guys were actually really close in points and average. I think Juju and Claypool, like you, are kind of just going to be overdrafted based off name for Juju, and then Claypool trying to take another jump here in his next year. And I think they certainly have value. All 3 of them are right around 14 points per game when they were active. So I just think Juju and Claypool are going to be overdrafted. Deontay Johnson was number 21 fantasy receiver, 14.8 average. That includes a couple of games where he got I think 2 or 3 games where he had 1 point or less, but that's because he got hurt on the first drive of the game. So his averages actually should be closer to 17 or so when he plays a full game. I really like Deontay Johnson. I had him for a while. If I'm not mistaken, I believe I traded him to you about halfway through the season.
Yes, you did.
I was in playoff contention. You were not. But I would love to have Deontay Johnson again. I think people who didn't pay...
Thanks for rubbing that in.
Yeah, you're welcome. People who didn't pay...
What I do over here?
People who didn't pay close attention...
Minding my own fucking business, just taking fucking shots.
Hey, I just said we made a trade. That's all I said. I think people are going to be overlooking Johnson, though, if they didn't pay attention to what he did last year. And I think he's got the most value out of this room, man. No question about it.
I do believe so as well. Definitely from a consistency standpoint over everything.
And his target share was higher than you would expect.
And back to the efficiency track, I think he just has the most capability of being efficient week to week, more than Claypool and more than Smith-Schuster.
Right.
So.
And like I said last year, there were spots where I was like, I can start this guy. He's good. And then he gets hurt first drive of the game. Then he's out the next game. And then I put him back in. Then he gets hurt the first drive of the game.
Yeah,
and then
you
he was
didn't have
good.
much luck with him.
And then he was good year after that. He was a nice trade piece, though.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. All right, another pass catcher, tight end room. Eric Ebron has never been a huge tight end asset in fantasy, but I do believe he could be kind of an asset for that declining arm of Ben Roethlisberger this year, and potentially in the red zone as well. Little dump offs, maybe nice little 5 to 7. Hey. Nice little 5 to 7 per game. I don't know when, maybe good 30, 40 yards off of those.
Sure.
So shit, I mean, you're looking at potential of 12, 13, 14 point fantasy game on average from Ebron. So maybe potentially if anything goes wrong with this wide receivers, if there's no connection, I really foresee Ebron kind of being that bailout option for Roethlisberger. So I'd still slot him in that, as we've been talking, there's that upper echelon and then the guys right below that upper echelon. I would put him in the top tier of those guys for sure. I wouldn't, there's some guys that are down at the bottom we've talked about, but I'd put him in that top tier, and definitely worth a look if you kind of get the short end of the stick in the tight end market, as I always seem to anymore nowadays. Definitely worth a look, but I would also have somebody who might be a potential sleeper tight end, sleeper breakout, somebody to kind of have as a handcuff. As much as you hate to handcuff a tight end, kind of something to think about there. So that's my opinions on Ebron. I would definitely say start him, have somebody to handcuff.
Yeah, I kind of like what you said there. He was number 14 tight end last year, 9.5 average. I think he ticks up a little bit, maybe he gets into that top 10, but kind of like you, if he's my, what I anticipate to be my lowest scorer in my entire starting lineup, I'm pretty happy. If he's not, and he's one of my fourth or fifth option out of my fantasy lineup, that's not a good recipe at all. But if I spend all of my capital throughout the draft on tight end or without tight end, and then he's the last position I have to fill, I'm pretty happy. And like you said, I would love to pair him with a nice little sleeper tight end. So I'll absolutely start him. If that doesn't go how it goes and I get a different tight end, then I'm probably not going to waste a tight end spot for him as a backup. But I like what you said there about the dump offs. Obviously, we jinxed each other there, but I think there's going to be some production for Ebron this year.
Yeah, most definitely. We are obviously on the same page for sure. And then as far as the kicker department goes, I am not sure off of hand who will be their kicker. I will have it for you here in just a second. Do not worry. Do not worry. Colt is to the rescue.
Both of our computers doing some shit right now.
Hopefully it doesn't kind of go into
Chris Boswell.
Chris Boswell, yeah, that's who I thought it would be. So Boswell obviously has been kind of one of those guys you can depend on from year to year in fantasy. Obviously not one of the top level tier guys. If I need a kicker and I'm in a pinch and I haven't got any of the top guys, I definitely think Boswell is worth a spot on your roster. So don't be afraid to pick him up, but definitely don't go out of your way to be one of the first kickers you pick up if you do have some other options to choose from.
Yeah, most definitely.
This defense, in my mind, I definitely think they will be solid. I think they finish somewhere around top 10 for sure, but there's going to be a few weeks where they might cost you a game or two. They might only put up 2 or 3 points. They might be in a 35-38 shootout, and that's never good for a defense fantasy-wise. They might not do anything terrible from a sheer game perspective, but fantasy, you're losing points by the second as that's happening. So not only yardage, but also by points. But I also think that there could be potential for them to win you some games in week to week. So if you need an option, you need a defense option, I would say start him for sure. With them kind of being projected in the top 10, I would definitely say start him.
Okay. Like we talked about earlier, I'm higher on this defense. Number 2 defensive fantasy last year. I think they slipped just based off schedule. But I mean, even obviously a lot of it was a cupcake schedule, but even as things got tougher, they never allowed more than 30 points last year. And I think that changes a couple times this year, like you kind of mentioned. But, I will absolutely draft them. I'll start them. I feel like based off what they are, I think people will probably be drafting them in the top 3 defenses. But like I said, with that schedule, I think they slip out of that. So maybe don't do that. But I love to have a man. I love this defense, but I definitely would like to pair him with somebody else when they're facing one of these big offenses.
Most definitely. I would definitely agree with you. So once again, sounds like we're pretty much on the same page. For the most part, outside of the wide receiver room. So for the most part, we're kind of all lined up on the fantasy value for the Steelers there. So there you go. Our best fantasy advice, who you should be starting, stashing, or passing on altogether. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that officially does it. The full season betting preview. Not betting preview, the full season preview, everything all encompassing. How the hell would we have just spent an hour and 19 minutes on only betting? Well, I'm sure it could be possible, but we covered a lot else in between there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, before we get into a few announcements here, get into a little bit of banner, RMags Sidebar, my motivation minutes, see all what's truly happening out there. Quickly, let's send these Pittsburgh Steelers and their coaching staff on about their 2021 seasons the only way we know how. So, To Mike Tomlin, Matt Canada, and Keith Butler, we wish you the best of luck in your 2021 coaching seasons there in the Steel City. To every offensive, defensive player, and member of the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, we wish you the best of luck in 2021. As always, Godspeed.
Godspeed.
All right, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. No more Pittsburgh Steelers. No more, well, maybe NFL. We might have a little something, who knows. But no more Pittsburgh Steelers. It is now TTL after hours, if you will. All right, first things first, let's get this bad boy out of the way. Partner, anything burning on the brain, melting on the heart, festering on the soul, you have been dying to get out to the kind folks that joined us on episode number 114 of the TTL pod on this beautiful August 31st, 2021.
Alrighty, so a couple different things here. First off, with the Steelers, Mr. Big Ben could find himself top 5 in passing yards at the end of the season all time. He's about 3,000 away, so as long as he plays a full season, which we'll see about that if that happens. But he is currently 7th, and like I said, he's about 3,000 away from sneaking into that top 5. He's currently 8th in TDs behind Mr. Aaron Rodgers. If he has a solid season or even an average season, he should move into that number 6 spot. He's 25 away from Dan Marino at number 5, but as I mentioned, Rodgers is in front of him, so Rodgers should sneak into that top 5 with Mr. Big Ben sliding into number 6. So that's it for the Steelers, but I do have a little on this day, 1990.
Oh.
Ken Griffey Jr., Ken Griffey Sr. became the first father-son duo to play on the same team in the same game. They hit back-to-back singles in the first inning, and both of them scored. Mr. Sr. was 40 years old. Jr. was 20 years old.
Wow. And they were not on the same team, correct?
They were on the same team.
They were on the same team. All right.
Yeah, it was like Griffey Sr.'s second to last year. He found a way to get onto the Seattle Mariners, obviously, and that was Jr.'s second year.
Okay. Well, hey, little did you know, both Ken Griffeys played as the first father-son duo?
First father-son duo to play on the same team.
To play on the same team on this day in 1990. You never know what you find here at the TTL pod. Thank you for your sidebar as always.
Of course.
All right. Well, that does it. Let's get into a little banter, little nonsense, little what's going on with TTL Sports Media, everything before we get y'all out of here. About 11:30, we got my motivation minutes too, so stick around. But as a reminder, we already talked about it during this show. This upcoming Friday will be the college football special show. We will also now, as a crew, decided we're bringing back the Moneyline Dice on the show as well. So we'll have a nice little guest appearance there by the Cubicle Objects, our favorite cubicle objects on the planet. Excuse me. And then after that, we will resume the NFL special editions on Monday. That will be Monday, September the 6th. We will be back in action on an NFL special editions. Then September the 8th. That is our final NFL special edition. It has been a long road, a long, not very treacherous, but very, very long road. It is now winding to an end. So our final episode will be exactly 8 days from today. Next Wednesday, we will close out the NFL special editions with the Washington football team and Riverboat Ron himself. That also being said, we will resume business as usual on that following Thursday. So September the 9th, we will be back to the show, the Talking the Line pod, as you know and love it. My picks, RMags picks, the special play of the day, Moneyline Dice Roll, and then anything we might roll around in there. We also might tighten it up, shorten it up a little bit, take away the rants and reactions, and then maybe do a little sideshow or something additional on the side where you guys can connect with us and we can kind of give you our hot takes and our sports news and stuff like that as well. Because we love doing that, but we kind of want to stay niche and keep this as clean and concise and as easily consumable for those either just getting into the betting market or wanting to get into sports gambling at some point in time. Or have been for the entire length of their life. Yeah, try and expand their knowledge. So that all being said, We will be back to business as usual on September the 9th. So stay tuned for that. We also are still cashing MLB tickets, still doing good. You had a solid day. I had a so-so day yesterday. You can get all of our best bets of the day if you go to the Action Network app. If you have that, I am at cash_with_Colt. Riley is at RMags in all caps. And then you can follow the Talking the Line best bets when we go back to the daily show at Talking the Line. Then, too, if you don't have the Action app, you can go to the link tree or just type in talkingtheline.com in your website's browser up over yonder. And all you got to do from there is just hit the Today's Best Bets tabs. You'll see all of our daily best bets. You'll be able to bet them right from the screen there. Then you also will see live lines and odds and all types of other content that you can go and check out and consume there on talkingtheline.com. So we got plenty of other avenues for you guys to check out if you have not yet. Well, I've been dancing around it, but other than that, it's time to let the cat out of the bag here, kids. I am so incredibly excited to be able to announce this to you guys. I can't believe we actually have the opportunity to do this. As I'll kind of talk about in my motivation minutes, hard work. Hard work, my friends. It's all it takes. You want to get up, you want to chase your passions, you want to chase your dreams. Just get up and go work every single day. And because of what you don't see us do off of this show, we have been afforded to create another show. So that being said, I told you guys yesterday, but if you weren't tuned in, the live show will always remain. We will always have Monday through Friday, the Daily Best Bets live show, no question about it. But we are rolling out on September 9th, a brand new recorded series. We plan to do it season by season. They might be, as far as length of season, we don't know for sure yet. We're thinking right around 7 to 10 episodes, maybe a little shorter, maybe a little more. That's kind of still up in the air, but obviously not that important. What is important is what's the show about? You guys already do enough gambling. What the hell can you possibly got going on? Well, what's going on? Well, I am honored and privileged to be able to tell you guys that we are bringing one of the first shows of its kind that I've really seen stone cold how we have it set up to the sports gambling market or the sports gambling industry. The name of the show is called Wise Words, and if you are not privy, we're wise guys. Yeah. You know, we got some wise words. Little play on words there for you. But you're not just tuning in to see our two ugly mugs sit here and talk.
No, sir.
You do that Monday through Friday for an hour and a half, maybe a little longer, depending. We will be having Wise Words as an interview-based show. Basically like your standard podcast, you would go out and watch a Joe Rogan experience, if you will. However, it is all designed around the sports gambling industry. So our guests will be, and you'll hear this very soon, and I won't tell you how, but you hear this very soon, some of the most electric, sharpest, and brightest minds in our industry. We're talking professional handicappers. We're talking daily experts and analysts that live in Las Vegas and make their home at sportsbooks. We're talking odds makers of sportsbooks, of major brick and mortar facilities, and of online sports betting. We're talking
different sports.
We're talking different sports across the board. We're talking not only football during this time of the year. We got golf guests lined up. We got baseball guests lined up. Hell, we even got a couple tennis guests on the horizon. We also have, on top of all the experts in betting and stuff on top of that, we have plenty of other guests that you guys are not going to want to miss out on. If there is somebody you have heard at some point in time in the sports gambling industry, you best believe you me, we have made some type of connection with them, and we are either in process of securing them for a spot on Wise Words or have already. Now, once again, so excited to be able to bring wise words to you guys. It'll be a little bit different. It is going to be recorded. If I didn't mention that, I'm pretty sure I did. So what we'll do is we'll obviously tape these episodes with our guests throughout our week, stuff like that, and then we will release them on every single Wednesday. So kind of give you a little bit of breather, a little bit of something to look forward to every week outside of the daily show, and then also a chance for not only us to learn.
Yeah.
We get a shitload of opportunity to learn from some of the best minds in our industry, but we also let you guys learn too, and maybe connect with people who you didn't know about, but then all of a sudden connect with like that as soon as you see them. We want to bring more and more people into the sports gambling industry. We want to show you, everybody, that this is not a taboo industry. This is not something that people should be afraid of. I talk to so many people so often, and they're like, oh, I just don't want to be the guy who's taking out thousands and thousands. And then I'm like, you don't have
You
to
just
be.
don't do that.
I'm not that guy, and I run a daily sports
not that
gambling
guy, pal.
podcast. I'm not that guy, pal. So what I'm telling you is in a nutshell, we are bringing you an interview-based show called Wise Words, that we will be interviewing some of the brightest, sharpest, most electric minds in all of the sports gambling industry, giving you insights and their analysis straight from the horse's mouth, if you will, something you might not be able to find anywhere else.
Right.
I've seen people feature on shows, I've seen people do it, but
You got to dig and find the right spot.
open, unbuttoned, laid-back conversation with the TTL crew, I don't see that all too often. So it's going to give these guys and gals, and gals, maybe think about that. A little hint for you there as a potential guest. It's going to give them an opportunity to really unbutton the shirt, if you will, and kind of kick back and connect with guys who look up to them, guys who are huge fans of them and who aim to model their careers in the same passion and form that they did.
Right.
So cannot wait to bring wise words to you guys. Again, first episode is going to be on September the 8th, that Wednesday, and then every Wednesday following that for eternity or until we run out of guests or whoever the hell knows, we will be releasing a brand new episode of Wise Words. Now, we will let you know on every Wednesday show. We'll always release it probably after the TTL pod,
Yep.
right around 1:30, 2 o'clock, somewhere in that ballpark. We'll always let you know, hey, new episode coming out today. We got guest so-and-so. I'm not going to tell you who our first guest is yet because I'll save that for when we give you the reminder on this upcoming Tuesday and Wednesday. So once again, I cannot wait. It has been kind of a struggle holding that cat in the bag and giving as many hints as I could possibly. So cannot wait to bring that to you guys. Stay locked into the pod, the daily show, to get updates there. And then also on our Twitter, I'll definitely put out some stuff in regards to Wise Words. I might not start doing it till a little bit later on in the week, so you guys are a little privy to some of the early information if you decided to tune in live or stop by today's show. But new show coming. Wise Words is on the horizon, and we are going to be connecting you with some huge, huge names. It is because of you guys we get up every single day and we keep grinding, and it is because of you guys that we have these opportunities. So thank you so much. Please tell your friends, tell your brothers, tell your uncles, tell your neighbors, everybody. If they don't believe we have good insights and analysis and our picks aren't worth a shit, fine. That's okay. I can accept that. But we's about to connect you with motherfuckers that you cannot even hold a flame to an argument that they don't know what they're talking about. So I suggest at the bare minimum, you get everybody corralled, get in the caravan, meander on over to Wise Words HQ when we tell you to, strap in, open up the ear holes, and get ready to get fucking flooded with knowledge you won't find anywhere else. Whew. All right. There you go. That's all of the updates. Wanted to make sure you guys knew about all of that. Also, reminder, hit that link tree in the episode description if I haven't told you already. Get all of our social platforms, additional content, and the talkingtheline.com website in one nice location. That all being said, let's put a cherry on the proverbial sundae that has been episode number 114 of the Talking the Line podcast, the only way I know how. Seems to me we just had some real good whipped cream be inserted there over the course of the last 5-10 minutes. Let's drop a nice Mancini cherry? Is that what it is?
Mancino?
Fuck, I really fucked that one up, didn't I? Nice red, beautiful cherry. A Bing cherry. Yeah, Bing cherries don't belong on Sundays.
Maraschino cherries?
Maraschino cherries.
Oh,
man.
we're burying
I know there's a fan out there.
burying
I know there's a
ourselves.
man out there or a fan yelling at the screen right now. You dumbasses! It's whatever word it is, and we don't have an idea. So
That's ugly.
let's put that cherry on top of the sundae, whatever it may be, with my motivation minutes. Now, told you guys, if you were here at the beginning of the show, this is going to be just a little bit of a continuation on from yesterday. Now, yesterday I talked about looking back in your past and not getting tripped up by what's already behind you was the quote of the day. And I gave you that mental image, if you remember, of walking down your path and it's a beautiful day and you're skipping along and the birds are chirping and the flowers are there and the sun's shining and you see a boulder in your path and you say, oh, geez, I gotta move out of the way of that. And you get around it and keep walking and you get about 25, 30 feet down the way and you say, I wonder what it would have felt like if that rock could just trip me up. So then you stick your foot all the way back and you keep trying to trip yourself over and over and over again for no reason in particular. That's what it's like dwelling on your past, trying to allow your past to dictate where you're going and your future and allowing it to trip you up in your day-to-day life. Well, today I wanted to talk in a different tense. I wanted to talk about the future because if you do remember yesterday, I talked about where you're at, where you want to be, and where you're going. Well, let's talk about where you're going. Also, another mental image for you here today. And when you're thinking about this, kind of think about it in the same light that you're on this same path and make it one story. However it looks in your head, make it one story, and I'll tell you why here in just a minute. But you're walking down that same path. It's a beautiful day, the sun's shining, birds chirping, the flowers are just blooming as perfect as they could possibly be, not a cloud in the sky. And instead of just worried about what potential boulder could be right in front of your path and trying to avoid that so it doesn't trip you up here and now, you strain your eyes as hard as you can for the next 100 to 200 feet. And you're looking at every boulder out there and damn, that one looks really big. Holy shit. And as you start to walk, you worry more and more. Man, that one is huge. Oh my gosh. And you get closer and closer. Well, wait a minute. Closer and closer. Oh, wow. That was just a small rock. That really wasn't a boulder at all. But then as you get to it, you eyes back up again and oh my gosh, there's another huge boulder. Oh, I don't know if I can get it around that. How am I going to possibly make it around that boulder? How is that possibly not going to trip me up? If you haven't put the metaphor together yet, that is what it's like being right here and now and looking at your problems in the future and looking at what could happen in the future and allowing question marks that you have zero control over or have zero ability to get the answers to. You allow those to dictate how you live your life right now. You are not future you yet. You are still learning. You are still growing. You are still supposed to be here. So why worry about what's going on out there and later? It's already taken care of. I can promise you that. Whether you have a spiritual belief or not, I can promise you it is already taken care of. So my quote for you today that I want you to remember as you also remember, and before I give you the quote, why I want you to put it together as a full story is because it's a mental image of where you were at, where you want to be, and where you're going, and where you're at, and where you were. Sorry, where you were, and where you're at, and where you want to be. It's a mental image. You have that past of trying to trip yourself up, but also trying to look too far ahead and everything. Stay right here and now. Keep yourself in the middle of that path. Take time to look at the flowers blooming. Take time to take stock of what boulders might be in your path and how you can get around them or how you can overcome them and smash through them. Take stock of how beautiful the sky is, the birds chirping. Take some time to take a breath and let the air come into your lungs. The quote I wanted to give you guys today is, don't worry about the future. Just go. Or also, don't worry about how you're going to get to the future. Just go. And that's Colton J. Soroka, ladies and gentlemen. That's not nobody else. Don't worry about what's on the road ahead. Don't worry about how big that boulder might be. Because 90% of the time, and yes, there is a little 10% sometimes, but 90% of the time, you're going to get to that boulder that you saw 100 yards in the distance, and it's going to be a pebble you can skip across the lake. And it's going to be nothing that you even had to worry about. So another quote I wanted to leave you with, and this is from Og Mandino, very, very powerful man. If you haven't read any of his books or any of his quotes, I highly suggest you look him up. But he once said, "Tomorrow is only found in the calendar of fools." And that is so powerful that if you are so worried, you are foolish to be worried about what tomorrow might hold. You are foolish to try and write down everything you can possibly accomplish tomorrow and do and this and that and the other, because chances are it's going to turn out entirely different than you could ever plan it to be. Tomorrow is only found in the calendar of fools. So putting this all together, as you think about your mental image, looking at those boulders in the future, forget about that. Stay right here and now. As you start to think about not worrying what the future holds or how you will get to the future, and just go. When you start to have that mindset, what you'll find is that you just work. And I talked about it a little bit ago when I talked about us having wise words now. We just got up and worked. We just got up and let our winds stir every day. Generated a little momentum, a little bit of energy, a little bit of something. Just always work, never still, never stopping. Even if we didn't accomplish the world that day, we moved a little wind. And eventually, if you think about moving the winds in your life and how you can do it every single day, eventually, the storms of change will come and you will be at your future before you know it. Your future will knock on the door and ask you if you're ready when you least expect it and when you're not looking for it. So stay right here and now. Do not trip over what is in your past, and do not worry about how you're getting to the future. Just go, be right here and right now, and worry about what you can do to be the best version of you in this moment. I hope you guys really enjoyed this kind of mini series, and I hope you were able to take some good rabbit holes home with you. That does it for my motivation minutes of the day.
My man, great stuff. First of all, I think there's a certain line from a certain favorite artist of ours that you may have looked past. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Looked across the horizon, saw a mountain. When I got there,
Just a pile of rocks.
just a pile of rocks. Said, "Goddamn."
I said, goddamn. I was hoping you were going to be somewhere in that wavelength as well.
Well, you started talking about boulders, and I was like, wait, this sounds like a lot like this Mac Miller line. Did I miss him say this already?
No, you didn't. So yeah, Mac Miller Ascension. That's how it starts. I woke up or I looked across the horizon and saw a mountain. When I got there, I realized it was just a pile of rocks. And that can't be more true and more powerful. And I hope that does something for you guys for sure, because it's got a place in my heart for sure. So that does it officially. My motivation minutes of the day. All right, we'll keep knocking them out of the park. No question. You need a little extra inspiration, motivation, get you on about your day. All keep teeing them up. No question. We actually got a new month coming this week is
Tomorrow?
what I was trying to say, tomorrow. And as you know, if you've been a fan of the Motivation Minutes, Colt's monthly quote is about to come over yonder around the bend. Don't know if I'll have everything updated on my calendar because it is the middle of a week and I've just been utilizing my computer, so maybe we'll have to wait for Monday through that.
Oh,
Maybe
sure.
I just teased the whole fucking thing. It's not going to be real, but just so you know.
It's coming.
There you go. Outside of that, yes, you're right. It is coming. Outside of that, nothing major.
Michael Thomas on the pup list.
Okay, Michael Thomas now on the
David
pup list.
Bakhtiari on the pup list, but I kind of
Oh.
expected that. So
Okay.
pup list, for those who don't know the duration, that means players going to be out regardless of if they come back, or regardless if they heal up, they're out 6 weeks regardless.
Absolutely.
First 6 weeks. So,
Hey, there's our There's guest number one.
I
Guest
missed
number
it.
one
What's
saying,
up?
hey, I accidentally clicked on it. He just said, hey, drop me a line. I got something to talk to you about. I can't fucking believe I'm about to have a phone call with this guy. This is my fucking life? Holy, hey. Proud of you, motherfucker.
fucking go.
Let's fucking do this. Well, outside of that, I hope you guys are as excited to get what we got coming in wise words as I am and Mags is to bring it to you guys. But for now, we've gone 15 minutes longer than we usually do, so it's time to send you fine folks on about your way the only way we know how. So, ladies and gentlemen, degenerates, gamblers, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, fans of the NFL Shield, NFL bettors, fantasy football players, anybody I might have so clumsily forgotten, far and wide, from myself and Mags. Thank you so much for choosing to stop by episode number 114 of the Talking the Line podcast. We cannot tell you how much we appreciate all of your support, all of your following, and continuing to stop by the daily show. We will soon have new and improved content for you to stop by, and we'll have all types of additional stuff outside of the TTL pod and wise words for you guys to consume come football season. You better believe we are rocking and rolling. If you haven't yet, we are just about to hit orbit. So please, you still got time. Strap into the rocket ship, nice and firm, if you haven't already, and let's get ready to go.
No seatbelts. I put the seatbelt
Yeah.
on. No seatbelts.
Fuck the seatbelts. We're going high risk, no security here, ladies. No fucking security here, ladies and gentlemen. You know me, I'm the black sheep. That's the only way we roll. So without further ado, all of you out there, we hope you have a spectacular rest of your Tuesday. Unless you have other plans, make sure you check out those best bets of the day so you can say with us very soon, let's cash some tickets.
Get up.